Now, the former lead singer with the Welsh rock group Lostprophets has pleaded guilty to a string of sex offences, including the attempted rape of a baby. Cardiff Crown Court heard that Ian Watkins was seen on video abusing a child and that he'd spoken of plans to get a baby hooked on hard drugs by blowing crystal meth smoke into its face. Our Home Affairs correspondent Andy Davies has this report, and just to warn you, some of the details are extremely disturbing.
They sold 3.5 million albums, Lostprophets, the rock group whose fan base stretched across the Atlantic and whose frontman Ian Watkins had the swagger to match the lyrics. In court today, he was barely audible, offering guilty pleas to a series of horrific sexual offences, including the attempted rape of a boy who was just 11 months old. And in the dock beside him was the mother of that boy, as well as the mother of a little girl, both of whom pleaded guilty to helping the 36-year-old singer sexually assault their babies. They can't be named for legal reasons.
This investigation has uncovered the most shocking and harrowing child abuse evidence I've ever seen. There is no doubt in my mind that Ian Watkins has exploited his celebrity status in order to abuse young children.
The attempted rape happened at this London hotel last April. His mother, who's from Yorkshire, took him there for Watkins to abuse, and he filmed it. At the singer's home in Pontypridd, the police, with the help of GCHQ accessing his passwords, found more images of severe child abuse on his computers and phones, as well as a stream of highly distressing text exchanges between Watkins and the two women. The exchanges contained grotesque and often sadistic references about what they'd like to do to the children, including talk at one point of teaching one of the babies how to take drugs. Much of the detail is simply too horrific to report. Ian Watkins was a determined paedophile, said the prosecution today. South Wales police declared they'd worked tirelessly to seek out any other victims. But did they miss previous warnings about Watkins? 4 other forces had passed on information, and now the police watchdog is investigating whether South Wales police should have acted sooner. Ian Watkins and the two women will be sentenced next month. Andy Davies, Channel 4 News, Cardiff Crown Court.
His crimes were horrific. Multiple sexual offences involving children, in one case the attempted rape of a baby. Ian Watkins, former frontman of the rock group Lostprophets, will be sentenced tomorrow. But there is increasing concern about the way police handled repeated allegations that Watkins was abusing children. Channel 4 News understands that South Wales police, who today admitted issues of concern, was provided with information about the singer from as many as 5 other forces prior to his arrest. Watkins' former partner has told us she tried for years to report him, but was ignored. Our Home Affairs correspondent, Andy Davies, has this report which contains some extremely distressing references to child abuse.
This is Ian Watkins, the former Lostprophets frontman who last year attempted to rape an 11-month-old boy with the help of the child's mother. The man who encouraged another young mother to sexually assault her own 1-year-old daughter for him. Were there other children he abused, and could he have been stopped sooner? If there are any other victims out there, then South Wales Police has said it'll work tirelessly to get them justice. But just how tirelessly did this force work to identify the threat posed by Watkins in the first place? Because South Wales Police and 2 other forces are all now under investigation by the Independent Police Complaints Commission, the IPCC, amid accusations they failed to stop Watkins despite repeated reports about him. Did you have a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship with him?
No, I would never describe it as that.
Many of those reports, we understand, were made by this woman, who is central to the IPCC's investigations. Joanne Majelix, former soldier, former escort. She herself was arrested in connection with this case, but then released without further action. Inquiries continue, we're told. She first met Ian Watkins 7 years ago, and they began a casual relationship. It was on-off, she says, at the outset fueled by cocaine and soon mired in his grotesque fantasies.
He began telling me about all these 14-year-old fans that he loved to take the virginity of, and then it just got worse and worse, and then he would start telling me things about he wanted to get me pregnant so that he could rape our daughter. He wanted to kidnap children. He wanted to get me involved in it.
It was in December 2008, almost 4 years before his arrest, that Joanne Majelix claims she first reported Ian Watkins to South Wales Police. She claims she gave the Child Protection Unit in his hometown of Pontypridd the name of a girl aged around 4 whom he'd apparently boasted of abusing. She'd be interviewed by her local force in West Yorkshire, but eventually told, she claims, by a detective sergeant in South Wales Police that the investigation was being dropped.
I said to him, look, I'm not a psycho, I'm not a liar, I'm not anything else that Ian would have said I am. I'm telling the truth, and if anything else happens to another child, it's on your head, not mine. And that's how I left it. And that was April 2009.
The following year, and their relationship now over, during the Leeds Festival where Watkins is playing, they meet again. In her hotel room, she says, he shows her a video of a girl she'd never seen before being sexually assaulted. How old do you think the girl was?
Maybe about 5 or 6. And I knew then that I wasn't wrong. And I thought, what can I do? The police have said that I can get harassment charges. What can I do? What am I going to do? He's got a video on his laptop which he's going to hide. What can I do?
She would eventually go back to the police. It was 2011. This time Watkins, she says, had Skyped her from Los Angeles telling her about a 5-year-old girl he'd been assaulting, and then texted her 3 images of child abuse. In her complaint to the IPCC, Joanne Majelix claims she immediately emailed South Wales Police to say Watkins had escalated the abuse and had now raped at least 1 young child. Eventually, she says, she would get a call back from the same detective sergeant she'd dealt with previously in the Child Protection Unit. He appeared uninterested, she alleges. Did he say to you, can I come down and have a look at these images on your computer?
No.
Did he ask you to send the images to him?
Nope. No, nothing.
Did he suggest any further means of investigating your claim here?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Precisely what this detective sergeant did or didn't do forms a large part of the IPCC investigation into South Wales Police. He's been moved, we understand, from frontline duties while the inquiry's ongoing. Today, South Wales Police confirmed to us they did receive an email about Watkins around the time Joanne Majelix claims to have sent it. The IPCC is investigating South Yorkshire Police too, the next force which Miss Majelix claims she tried to warn about Watkins. It was spring 2012. She claims she came to this police station in her hometown of Doncaster and gave them the name of a baby whom Watkins, she says, wanted to abuse. A baby whom we now know, tragically, he did abuse, with the help of the child's mother. Joanne Majelix says she spoke to the mother early last year before it all happened.
She's telling me in the emails how he made her take meth and heroin while she was pregnant. And then we exchanged phone numbers. And she called me and she said that Ian had said that he wanted to put GHB on his dummy and in his sippy cup and rape him. And I said, you need to report it. You need to report it. And she said, yeah, but I'm scared to. I said, no, you need to report it. I said, I will make an appointment and you will come with me to the police station and we will report him together.
On the 6th of March last year, Joanne Majelix claims she went to the police to report the threat on her own. The baby's mother, she says, would later call the police to say it was a lie. What police action, if any, resulted from this is not clear. What is clear, however, is that just over 3 weeks after this apparent warning to the police, Ian Watkins sexually assaulted the 11-month-old in this London hotel, with the child's mother helping him. In total, Joanne Majelix alleges she reported Ian Watkins at least 8 times over 4 years to 4 police forces before his arrest.
It's shocking. It's just shocking. I was telling them repeatedly about various children of varying ages and the mothers as well, and they were just pushing me away, telling me to go away, and I didn't go away. I just kept going back and back and back, and nothing was done. Nothing.
And yet at times, with all this knowledge, she also kept going back and back to Watkins himself. A lot of people watching this will ask the question, why, when you knew what he was capable of, didn't you stay 100 miles away from him?
Because I was the only one reporting him. And I kept saying to the police every time I gave them new information, and they said, you need to keep away because you'll be charged with something, you'll be brought into this and you'll be charged with something if you don't keep away. Every single time they kept saying that, and I kept saying, I don't keep seeing him, I'm not going to keep giving you information, I can't get that information.
As Ian Watkins awaits his sentencing tomorrow, it is now up to the police watchdog, the IPCC, to give their verdict on Joanne Majelic's deeply unsettling claim that the police could have stopped this man a lot sooner.
Andy Davis joins us live now from Cardiff. Andy, these are extremely grave allegations. Is it possible to assess the credibility of Joanne Majelic's account?
Well, John, they're hugely serious allegations, because at the heart of this, what she's basically saying is that if the police had acted properly on the reports that she was giving them, then these 2 babies wouldn't have been abused. As to her credibility, we are not in a position to independently verify all of her claims. And you can imagine that the police forces implicated may want to challenge her account but feel constrained at the moment because of the IPCC investigation. What I will say is this: she gave us a very detailed account, and when we've put her allegations to the forces involved, to South Yorkshire Police, to South Wales Police, they haven't come back to us and said it's all wrong. In fact, South Yorkshire Police responded by saying they did receive information about Watkins at a time when Miss Majelic's claims she was giving them information. South Wales Police today confirmed they did receive an email about Watkins at the time that Joanne Majelic's claims she was sending that email. And tonight, South Wales Police have issued a statement saying that their initial review in the IPCC investigation does pose a series of questions concerning the earlier handling of information regarding Ian Watkins.
Well, and the IPCC is not ending its investigation in South Wales. It's looking into Bedfordshire Police.
Yes, this involves the other young mother who was convicted alongside Ian Watkins and who will be sentenced tomorrow. Joanne Majelic's claims that last year she went to Bedfordshire Police Force and warned them about this mother abusing her child for Ian Watkins. She claimed that she'd been told that by Ian Watkins himself. She gave the police, she says, the name of the baby, the name of the mother, the village where they lived. And yet it appears it was a while before that woman was arrested. So that is another strand of investigation involving the IPCC.
Well, there really does seem to have been a very great deal of information about Ian Watkins finding its way to the police.
A lot of reports, we're told, and all heading back to South Wales Police. And this is information for a variety of sources, as I understand, not just from members of the public, including Joanne Majelic's, but from Crime Stoppers and other police forces. And previously, it was stated publicly that 4 police forces had passed information to South Wales Police prior to Watkins's arrest. I understand now that that figure has gone up to 5.
Andy Davis in Cardiff.
You are a deeply corrupting influence. You are a sexual predator. You are dangerous. The judge's words as the disgraced former lead singer of the Lostprophets was jailed for 35 years. Ian Watkins' face was blank, but his body was shaking uncontrollably from head to foot as he heard his sentence. Earlier, his lawyer had told the court he was deeply, deeply sorry and ashamed of what has happened. But the prosecution released the transcript of a telephone conversation he had while in prison after pleading guilty last month, in which he expressed himself rather differently. Describing his crimes, Watkins said, "I'm going to put out a statement just to say it was mega lols. That's text speak for just having a laugh." He added, "I do not know what everybody is getting so freaked out about."
The 3 paedophiles responsible for the terrible abuse of 2 babies have now been brought to justice. The investigation uncovered the most disturbing child abuse evidence I've seen in my 28 years as a police officer.
But did the police ignore warnings about the singer's paedophilia, which was only uncovered after his house was searched as part of a drugs investigation? This ex-girlfriend of Watkins says from 2008 she repeatedly raised concerns with the police, concerns they didn't take seriously.
Can't really say anything about sentencing because basically that's not going to give all the kids their lives back, is it? It's not going to give me 5 years of my life back. It's not going to do that, is it? You know, taking his life away doesn't give the kids their lives back, does it?
3 police forces which had information about Watkins that they failed to act upon are now under investigation.
We understand the level of significant public concern because these actions they're vile and depraved and they're really beyond any sort of description. So we understand the need to explain for the public, if we can, whether this man could have been brought to justice sooner.
Watkins pleaded guilty to 13 crimes, but detectives are certain many more of his fans have been manipulated into satisfying his sexual fantasies. There are victims of this man still to be found.
These 3 defendants conspired to commit shocking crimes of abuse against young and defenceless victims. The prosecution case was that Ian Watkins was the ringleader of this terrible conspiracy, and it is right that his sentence reflects this. He is a highly dangerous and manipulative individual who preyed on his victims in a calculated manner. The other 2 defendants were active participants in the most shocking abuse of their own children. They too have received sentences that reflect their admissions of guilt to these offences. It is beyond belief that adults would commit such appalling acts against children and young people, and our thoughts remain with the victims and those close to them. They are the ones who now have to deal with the longer term effects of what has happened, and I hope they're able to receive the care and support that they need to move on with their lives. They should be free to do this without any additional concerns about the protection of their identity, and I hope that their legal rights will be respected in this regard.